Welcome back to the Foundation. This is Beethoven, and I'm gonna work on this like quick arrangement real quick, and I'm gonna show you what I would do in order to change this MIDI that I've made for the loop to make it more of an intro, to give it that build up, and then I'm really gonna move on to the next project because this is like whatever. I should probably make some type of system where I export this stuff so people can like work on it themselves. Is because I like making the ideas, right? I would very much like people to finish the ideas because I'm not finishing them. Like that's just, and I think that's a really good way to try. Probably like really brainstorm, build a community. You know what I'm saying? I think that's cool. Like I literally give away all my, like listen, check this out. I'm gonna show you. This is what I would give away. Like maybe I'll make a Discord and like upload this. It's my last day off until tomorrow. But all of these are simply ideas, right? Some of them are way more completed than others. But that's just some of them. Other than that, it's just like I think it would be easier for people to learn how to make beats if they started off with the beats themselves, right? It's a journey to start making music from scratch, but if you don't think you have the time, which you should probably start early, right? I think just in general, the idea of working with people better than you makes you better faster. Now, I'm not the best at this. And I would love to work with like people that are at the top because I promise you, I would absorb that information like crazy. Like that, like I'm missing a couple things that like are right there, but I have to figure it out myself. You know what I mean? And when I figure it out, it's rap skis, right? But maybe I'm just trying to figure out my formula, my sound, what works for me, which is nothing wrong with. Because if you keep doing that, you're eventually going to find the diamonds that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? So don't give up on what you can produce. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, this idea that I have is that, you know, before I get into the arrangement part, have you ever looked at the arrangement that you've made and you realize that the MIDI just looks beautiful? Like it just looks like nicely patterned, and like the melody adds up. It just looks right. It makes sense. And that doesn't happen for a lot of people because a lot of people, I know there's a lot of people, right? What they do is they like layer stuff like this. So they have like a lot of patterns that look like this. And it's like there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like that's not what I'm getting at, pretty much. All right. I'm about to show you what I'm getting at in a second. Because the thing is that not everyone looks at beats in terms of MIDI, right? When people produce, right, some people look at it in terms of waveforms, right? If I were to render this out as a audio clip, I guess 100% isn't really 100% nowadays, but we see a waveform now, basically, all right? And some people produce in this fashion. It's kind of nice to produce this fashion, especially when you're working on transients. But the problem with waveforms is that you can't go back in and change the MIDI, right? So it's really about how much work you want to do and the workload on your brain, to be honest. Is because it's just like, if you're a producer who just works with waveforms, that has to be so free to not have to worry about the intricacies of the sound. Because really think about this. That means they're probably working with different type of sounds that work together better than that don't have to be micromanaged. All right. So that's just an idea, right? MIDI requires a lot of micromanagement because a lot of people are adding details in it. Unless you're creating more melody and sounds that are more open, maybe like a fifth chord or something like that. And then maybe you have an arpeggio waveform and it's just like, okay, boom, right? Just work with what you got with the MIDI. You just start to getting into the nitty gritty, you know, the nitty gritty MIDI. Okay, that's the title of the video. I got bars. Anyway, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you're in behind the scenes in the boiler room, really making that stuff work. You feel me? So honestly, I believe when it comes to even working with the loops, because those are waveforms opposed to making your stuff from scratch, it really is basically how much control you want, right? And honestly, a creativity factor, but creativity factors that are leveled in different scales is because one is just what can you put together and sound good enough. The other one is how can you make it from scratch and make it sound good. So the argument, what's better? I think it's invalid. What's better in terms of like preserving your creativity and your brain flow and like your brain fatigue waveforms. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to worry about changing the MIDI. But I'm gonna show you something how I would, I guess, make an intro, because this is what this melody sounds like right now. It's nothing crazy. But I kind of want to look at the MIDI pattern, because as we can see, if I already didn't say it, we're going to be going down. We can see the top notes, they go down, they go back up, they go down, back up, down, back up. You know what I'm saying? And usually when you have chords looking a certain type of way, it indicates, there's an indication of like the feeling, right? Like sadness or just some type of build up and stuff like that. So you have to keep that in mind with how the MIDI looks, I suppose. So this is what it sounds like. Nothing crazy. Right? Thing is, it's such a small change to make, but maybe it's a change based on feeling that you're gonna have to make. Is because I don't want that to be the intro, right? I want the intro to kind of build up into that sound. So I'd probably get rid of the MIDI that goes down here, and I probably want it to go up. So let's see what it sounds like. Right? Instead of it going bum bum, I want it to go bum bum. I want to step up. If we take a look back at it now, that MIDI going down isn't going down. We're going to be stepping up, right? Which leads to my next example, basically, of like, it's building up into like a climax, basically, how long you're staying at that top, and then when you're going to start walking back down, kind of like a mountain, all right? Because it's basically in like just in terms of storytelling, right? This MIDI, you have to understand, is like they're letters, and you're making words, which is the melody basically, and it's just you're building up, right? And you're gonna just come right back down. So it's just like, just how much are you speaking at the start until you get into the climax, right? The good stuff, which is basically would be like the chorus, I suppose, obviously, the hook and all that stuff. They're just letters, bro. It's just how you look. It's just how you perceive what's in front of you. You don't have to think too hard about music, even though I'm probably making it more difficult than it already is. It's such a small change. I can hear it. Like this sound particularly might be a little bit hard to hear, like the small changes in like the notes going up and stuff like that. But that, I think, is another testament of how fluid a melody could sound. It's because if this is a piano, you're gonna hear the notes just straight up a bum 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 bum, right? But you ever hear those really nice smooth melodies? I listen to like some older Young Thug beats where like the melody, like the stuff just blends together. I'm not saying this blends together. This is obviously chopped to chop shit, because I use 2 gross beats, so there you go. So it's basically bum 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 bum, and then I might not even do that. I might have it just go up twice. Now I'm gonna go straight up to that note. Bum 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 bum. So like this C sharp is nowhere in this beat, I believe. But like that's like I don't know if you guys can hear, but that's actually kind of fire. That actually makes me want to add another sound to utilize that C sharp. It's pretty subtle in there, but like I didn't use it anywhere else actually, and I like that. it actually changes up the vibe. And you know that's kind of important because like you have to understand, like, so I'm only using keys that are also in the scale, and you kind of seen what I just did and how I tried to explain everything to you, and it's just like, so if I already didn't say it, this could probably be like helpful with making your chords as well, because like as you can see, there was already some chords I initially made, but then you want to re-sculpt your chord, right? It might help you with the progressions and the connections, basically, right? The progressions in terms of basically when I said we're stepping up and stepping down, you know what I'm saying? All you got to do is just stay inside the scale, you know? But also in terms of like just the connections in between these two patterns right here. So one thing that's actually like, I guess, like useful is information tip is to change like a last note basically within like the last chord, or like a note within the last chord, and hopefully it sounds right and leading into the next chord. And to do that, all you have to do is just play around with a note within the scale, right? You can see that they're already highlighted, so it's just like, you know, you can change a top note. That might be the best bet, to be honest. But you know, I'm just saying a lot of things that probably no one's ever gonna remember. I don't even think anyone knows like how that C sharp sounds in relation to how it sounded before I even recorded this video, because no one was here for me to make it. You know what I mean? I mean, it might be easier to hear without the. So, what I'm going to do is play this without that thing that we just changed, and you're going to hear the difference. All you have to listen out to is this. Can't even see it, but this section right here where they connect. I'm saying literally repeats itself over, but with this change right here, we're gonna hear a build up until we start going back down a little bit, and then we're gonna hear that C sharp again. And you know some shit, what I would really do is make this intro even longer. It's because that C sharp doesn't really make me want to go straight to that top. It doesn't make me want to go to that climax. It makes me want to go to a different note, to be honest. And it's just like, maybe we can use this intro again. Let's see how this sounds. And all I'm doing here basically is you're listening. What you can hear, you hear all the notes, but you're really paying attention to this top line. That's what you're listening to, basically. I didn't say it, but like hopefully, most likely, that's what you're listening to, right? That's the only thing that's really changing. think that's fine enough. So there's no C sharp right here. You know what I'm saying? That C sharp was just a nice little, you know what I'm saying? Now we're gonna, I do want to hear it go back down, but this should be fine, bro. It should be alright, man. I guess. I don't know. It's the nitty gritty MIDI. You know, no one said it was fun. That's so random. I'd have to add some new sounds. Let's be honest here. You know what I'm saying? I bet you guys forgot everything that we've already done at the beginning. You weren't even listening to it, because I wasn't. I wasn't listening to it. I was listening to how shit that hi-hat sounded. And the snare sounds. And kind of, yeah, I kind of want to change to 808 now. Yeah, I mean, I would just add another sound here. I would probably add a harp. For real, I'd add a harp. I'd add a harp. You know, I mean, that is part of the arrangement, right? I mean, once you get to the chorus, it's like, all right, what could I do to add some more energy, right? We got to that mountain. There's got to be something there besides that high note I was talking about. You know what I mean? Some different type of energy. Because when we get to like more of that verse, it's like there's got to be, in my opinion, a different sound that carries. Yuck. Look how repetitive that looks. It looks like I don't care. But I don't. Because I feel like going on to the next thing.